Hey guys, Tyler Hansman here with Tyler Hansman Performance. So today we're going to talk about a specific throwing drill you may already be doing, but you may be doing wrong. All right? So what we're going to talk about today are marshals. Okay? So this specific variation that we're going to talk about today is based off of a drill that Dr. Mike Marshall came up with years ago as part of his throwing programming for his pitchers. So what we're going to talk about today first are kind of the goals of this throwing drill. And how it can often go wrong, and then how we can kind of fix those pieces. Okay, so what are the goals and what's kind of the purpose of this drill? So the first piece is we want to feel kind of the separation and segmentation of the hips and torso. So kind of how they disassociate and move separately of each other. The other piece is we want to feel the disassociation of the arm and the torso, how those two pieces move separately of each other, okay? We want to feel the smooth transition from that kind of deep retraction and abduction and horizontal abduction, kind of end range of motion, into acceleration of the arm, all right? We want to feel kind of what it feels like to rotate through ball release, so we have that kind of optimal acceleration, deceleration pattern, all right? And then finally, we want to, just in general, we're trying to improve that post-arm swing arm action. All right, so kind of as you can hear from here, this drill can serve a lot of purposes and kind of help you with a lot of things if it's done correctly. All right, so let's kind of talk about where this drill can go wrong. So the first way this drill kind of commonly goes wrong is starting with a ball that's just way too heavy. All right, this makes the arm action tense and pushy. It tends to be like elbow driven. All right, just because Trevor Bauer can do this drill with a 4-pound ball doesn't mean you can or should. All right, the goal is to be able to stay relaxed through this kind of deep retraction and horizontal abduction, and then to the last possible point when that tension is actually required. All right, so in general, start with something around a 5-ounce ball, and you can gradually work it up from there. I'm not going to tell you there's a specific point where you need to stop, because if you can stay relaxed with a 4-pound ball, there's not necessarily an issue kind of inherent with this ball weight, right? But if it's going to tense up your arm action and not serve the actual purpose of the drill, then we need to kind of reevaluate the ball weights that we're using. All right, so the second thing that kind of commonly goes wrong is throwing darts. All right, so you can kind of think about this as like the elbow driving the movement. All right, so this can result from the ball being too heavy. It can result from kind of tissue limitations, which is a topic for another video, or it can result from just an incorrect conceptualization of the purpose of the drill, and that's kind of a really common one. Okay, so what you want to do is think about letting the arm unfold away from you. All right, if we kind of think about like elbow extension and into shoulder internal rotation is kind of the way we want this to happen. And so kind of a really common thing to think about is you're just kind of pulling down and throwing over. We're gonna let that arm kind of unfold away from you to some degree, all right? Okay, so one of the next problems we kind of often see is too much tension, especially kind of in the extraneous or distal pieces. So you want to think about, we're going to say relaxed through your face, all right? So if you see like a really great sprinter running, you'll see their jaw kind of bouncing, right? I've heard Chad Wesley Smith say that his track and field coach growing up told them jelly jaw. And that's probably an easy way to think about it here. There's no reason for you to have that extraneous tension, and we don't want to throw off the proximal distal kind of sequencing of this. The other thing to think about is keep that hand really, really relaxed throughout. Like just enough tension to kind of hold on to the ball, because we want those distal segments to stay relaxed kind of until it's their turn to fire, so we can maximize that building kind of an application of that energy throughout the kinetic chain, okay? So keep the jaw relaxed, keep the hand relaxed, don't create all of this excess tension. Okay, the next kind of error that happens frequently is pulling down or back too hard. All right, so kind of yanking down into that ladder, kind of pulling back into that retraction, horizontal abduction. It's not just a matter of getting to these kind of positions that are seen as more optimal. It's how you get there and then how you get out of there. So the whole purpose of getting to that kind of maximally retracted and horizontally abducted position is that we want that reflexive firing of the pec to come out of that, because it's more powerful than anything we can do consciously. Okay, so if we muscle up getting there, we're not going to get that elastic return that we're looking for. So stay relaxed into that retraction and horizontal abduction. Don't yank down or back into it, and you're just kind of letting your arm float to that position, and then we're going to get that return from it, okay? So if you're having an issue with kind of getting to a deeper position, there's probably something you need to examine on the soft tissue side, which again is a topic for another video, but yanking into that position is not the answer. Okay, one of the other issues we kind of commonly see is becoming too linear. All right, so you want to think about, we're rotating through ball release, and that's for a couple of reasons, right? We want that optimal acceleration, deceleration pattern. So we want that late launch of basically the shoulders switching places. So we're maximizing, again, the kinetic chain. The other piece of this is we're maximizing the ability of our larger kind of body segments to decelerate the arm rather than relying on these smaller pieces like just the posterior shoulder or the biceps or things like that, which can cause other problems if we rely too heavily on them. So becoming too linear is a big issue. You want to think about rotating through ball release. Okay, and kind of the last area that we kind of commonly see is overdoing the sidearm piece. I think of one specific guy who I have in person in general who kind of makes this issue, and he kind of, basically you dip to the ipsilateral side, which he doesn't throw submarine, so this isn't a kind of pattern that we want to ingrain. He's overthinking about the arm unfolding away from him, and to kind of make that happen the way he's conceptualized it is getting into that ipsilateral side. So we don't want to overdo the sidearm piece. Let the arm unfold away from you, right? Because like we talked about earlier, we don't want that elbow driving you forward, right? Let the arm unfold. But we don't want to get there by getting to kind of this ipsilateral tilt position unless you're a submarine guy. In that case, sure, we can happily ingrain that pattern because it's what you're actually using on the mound anyway. But for anybody who does not kind of use that on the mound, this isn't something that we want to just consistently do with our drill work as well, because it's not going to have as good a transfer if we do it that way. All right, so as you can see, kind of marshals have broad applications in terms of issues they can help with, and there's more modifications to this drill than just the specific one that we've discussed today that can kind of fit other little bits and pieces of the delivery kind of as needed. But just kind of watch out for these pitfalls, and if you're doing these currently, kind of make some of the corrections that we talked about, and you'll get more out of this drill. If you have questions, feel free to drop them below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you've got questions about in-person or remote training, drop us an email. Thanks.